Everybody, and welcome to the Weatherboys podcast. I am Derek Kevra. That is Alan Longstreet, and together we make up the Weatherboys.
Yeah, we are.
Special thanks again to the 3148s for that intro song. We are going to have them on the podcast in the next couple of weeks.
You got the 3148s on the podcast?
I pulled some strings.
Oh my gosh!
And I was able to lock in the 3148s.
One day I'll get those numbers right.
You're
They're
right.
so good though. They're so good.
But they've got a big charity event coming up. I'm going to be emceeing the event. I do it every year. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to have them on the show, and we're going to talk to them about their English agent. I mean, they got that agent.
Oh
from
yeah,
England.
right. Yeah, bopping around. That's a big deal. That's great.
A pretty cool thing. Okay. Anyways, enough about them.
Is it though? Is it?
How are you doing?
I feel like a groupie. I've been to 2 of their shows.
It's soon to be 3. Are you going to come? Are you going to try to make it?
Of course. Well, I've got the kids that day. I'm gonna pop out there for a minute.
How has summer been going for you?
It's good. It's great, man. I put together a little buffet today. One of those little, things. It's like a little thing, and you put stuff in it.
I'm aware of what a buffet is, but
Not like you go eat at one. Yeah.
Okay, so no, I guess I'm unaware of what a buffet is because
I don't know what it's really called. It's like a dresser, maybe you could call it. It goes in one of the rooms of the house, and things go inside of it.
Wait.
It's not a closed dresser.
You called it a
It goes
buffet.
It goes into the. It's by the dining room table. A buffet.
So this
I
is
think
not a
that's what it's
buffet like
Not
you
a
go
food
to.
buffet. I didn't make a buffet. You think I made a food buffet for my?
Yes.
No.
I thought you had the kids and you made it like a buffet of breakfast foods.
My
and
house
they could
is
come
always
down.
no. My house is always a buffet. They can eat what they want. No. I handcrafted a piece of furniture for my house.
And how did you handcraft it? Did you cut it with a saw?
I put them together.
I've got some tips if you're choosing.
Yeah. Have we talked about that yet?
I don't think we have.
Oh my gosh, your disgusting hand, which actually looks pretty good now.
It looks really good.
Yeah, no, I put things together.
Oh,
I did
like
not
an IKEA,
create. Yes,
like
I did
followed.
not.
That's good.
I assembled a piece of furniture.
I am not poo-pooing that. That's good work.
But you were out there handcrafting some stuff, and
I was building a game, and I was using a table saw, and I used the table saw wrong, and like scarily wrong. Like this is not a joke. Like I legit had to go to the ER and get 8 stitches, and I was freaking out. I could see all the way down. It's like almost. I did not see bone, but I saw everything else.
That's gross, man.
It cut all the way through. It was very scary.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. I'm very lucky, all things considered. 8 stitches, and that was that.
Yeah, I think that's just a rite of passage. You're a man. You're a man out there working hard.
Oh yeah. Have you done? You've
got
done
your
it?
man hands. Table saw. That's got a sharp blade.
Let me see the scar. I want to see it.
I didn't mess up. No, I didn't know.
Yeah, you're good.
I made mine properly.
Summer camp's kicking off. I just went and got my kids from summer camp.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Badly. I got scolded.
You by who to who?
I got scolded by the summer camp counselor. I picked them up 10 minutes early because I had to bring them back here so we could do this.
Right.
And she opened the door and she's like, "Class ends at 3."
Oh, she said no.
And I was like,
let you.
I know. I'm really sorry. We have an appointment. I have to get to the appointment.
Sure.
And she's like, "Okay, but class ends at 3. You need to let us know in the future if you're going to."
Oh, and she had that voice too.
Yes.
You're good at that voice.
And I was like, I honestly, I was a little mad. But then on the drive back, I realized she was kind of right and I was kind of wrong. I interrupted class.
Yeah. Did you apologize for cursing her out or no?
In my own head?
Oh, I just assumed you did.
No.
Hothead Kevra over here.
No,
you didn't?
I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I have I was
sure.
Midwest polite.
Oh, yeah. You were
T.
probably sweaty. Yeah.
I was.
No, of course you were. Yeah.
I was getting sweaty.
I know you were. Of course you were. I can see it in your pits right now.
I do not like being scolded by a person.
No, doesn't feel wrong.
Authority figure.
Doesn't feel wrong.
All right. Our guest today is someone who is no stranger to the green screen and no stranger to the city of Detroit. Or a good storm tracker, for that matter. We have him, you have seen him on your screens locally and nationally, delivering forecasts with energy, accuracy, and a killer wardrobe to boot. But beyond the radar maps and 7-day outlooks, who is this man? And this man is the one and only Michael Estime.
My gosh, look at this. The prodigal son returns. Michael Estime.
I cannot tell you how happy I am to be with you guys. This returning home and then my weather brothers. Come on. This is awesome. My first time on a podcast, by the way.
Look at that. See?
Yeah, with you guys. With you guys.
Wow, and that silky peanut butter voice of yours, it sounds really, it was tailor-made for podcasts, Michael.
Oh my gosh. Derek, really quick. Your hand.
Oh yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
So you are using a sort. I feel for you when I see his hand. I don't know if you're listening to it, but there's a pretty significant scar along your index finger.
Yeah, it was a bad decision by me. I do a lot of building, like I cut wood and do things that make shelving and things. But I was using a table saw, which I was not really that practiced with. And the person I was working with told me, don't use that. You don't know how to use it. Wait for me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't.
Okay.
And they left, and I said, I know what I'm doing.
Sure.
I'm good.
It's a saw.
Just a rotating wheel of death.
They specifically said, don't do it. Mm-hmm. And then I did it. And that's
were you pushing wood through and then it just kind of caught?
So thank God it wasn't the blade that hit my hand. I was pushing the wood through, and anybody who's familiar with table saws knows that one of the important parts is called clearing the wood. You have to clear it past the blade. I did not clear it past the blade, and so the blade caught the wood, and it whipped the wood around in a circle, and the wood slammed into my hand. It actually slammed into my hand and then into my gut. And I thought my biggest fear right off the bat was that I had impaled myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a piece of wood.
Derek.
Yeah, and when I realized I didn't do that, I looked down at my hand and I said, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
and it was split wide open, man. Like I've never had anything like that happen before, it was equal parts gross and
terrifying.
Yeah, interesting to the point where I was like, oh, wow, that's what the inside of a hand looks like. And then
the scientist came out for a minute.
Yeah, like I could see, like I was like, oh, my tendon is moving as my finger moves.
Wow, and you can bet you have full dexterity in your...
And that's why I was so lucky.
I'm going to move those digits. Do it again, do it again, do it again.
When I went to the ER, and they, the first thing they said is, can you move your fingers? And I could, and they said, you don't know how lucky you are. And they stitched it up, and it took like 3 weeks to really, truly heal. I kept going back for them to take the stitches out, and every time they were like, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that it's doing a lot better because, that looks so painful. But anyways, all right.
No, you should. I don't know if you can drop a picture in this pot. It looked disgusting.
Hey.
It looks cool. Now, what do you mean? It looked filthy.
It looked like... I'll show you a picture later. Of when it was...
I definitely want to see that.
All right, enough about me. Michael, you're back in Detroit. Yes. You're here. We're so happy to
love it.
Yeah, how long are you in town for?
You know what, literally, for my weekends are Monday afternoon, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I'm out the door tomorrow evening. So, I mean, it's very quick. But I wanted to see my mom, my dad, my family. And there's something about Detroit and especially Michigan in the summertime. I love Michigan summers. There's like songs that have been written about that. And so just to be back, for me, the smell of Metro Detroit, it's very different from Manhattan.
What does Manhattan smell like? What is that? What is that? What's that scent?
Oh, it is. It's a little bit like it is everything. Everything under the sun. And again,
Derek's rotten gash. The scent of his rotting flesh.
Yeah, there might be some of that.
Okay. Don't get me wrong. Like Manhattan, New York is incredible. The food scene, I mean, it is just second to none. But yeah, it's just nice to be back, and especially like with the friends, the family, especially the parents.
I got a lot of questions about where you are, but first of all, to get this guy into this seat, dear listeners, is not an easy thing. Like we had you come in the side door at the Fox 2 compound.
Oh my gosh.
Because we're busy people. We have things to do. And everybody wanted to stop and talk to Michael. And luckily it was only like 3 or 4 people because it's a dead time in the news station right now. But like everybody, like
Charlie.
Oh my gosh.
Him. Oh my gosh. It was so good to see him and just everyone else here.
He's like Beyonce. Like you can't.
It is.
You know, you bring Beyonce and everybody's going to want to stop and take a picture. Like we had to pry Michael away from Charlie Langton, who was just chatting his ear off. Because you and Charlie worked together on the mornings for years.
Yeah, for 2 solid years. I mean, Charlie's like, we went through COVID together.
Yeah.
That was when I was here last, was during that stretch in 2022, 2023, 2024. And yeah, he was kind of part of my pod. Remember how we all had to have those close pods that you didn't really get those bubbles? Charlie was definitely in my bubble. Marielle in my bubble. Mm-hmm.
I literally don't remember that. We had like bubbles. We could, if we saw someone outside of our bubble, we had to like turn and run. Basically, I believe it. I have zero memory of that. I don't think I respected the bubble.
Do you remember, Michael, the first time you and I like met? Really, it was over Zoom.
Right.
Like when it was
right.
you were training on the morning show.
That's right.
And it was the longest Zoom I've ever had. It was like we didn't pay for Zoom, so it timed out multiple times.
It was 4 or 5 hours. It was a
Zoom used to time out.
Yeah, if you didn't pay for it, like
Oh,
after
wow.
90 minutes, so we had to keep reconnecting.
Yeah.
Michael and I, he trained over Zoom
right.
while I was in my freaking living room
That's
doing the
right.
weather on the morning show, and you were in your apartment, and we were talking, you were asking questions, and I was like, yeah, I connect to this way, and I do that way, and
What a terrible way to live.
Terrible.
That was so awful.
I hope we never go back there. Although it was kind of nice because when you're on like a telephone, like when you're having a telephone conversation, it almost forces you to connect with that other person. And so I feel like that was really where we got to know each other.
yeah.
You desperately wanted to leave. You were like, oh, Derek, but it forced you to like, and now here we are, and you can tolerate him. That's beautiful.
And every time I see you guys, I got to give you a big hug because
Yes.
of all of that time that I missed.
Yes.
During the pandemic.
That was wild. The pandemic kicked off in what, March, was it? And
Yeah.
you
2020.
when did you come? When did you move here? Was it
April?
Yeah, I think I was here.
like nobody was moving
Wait,
and you moved?
Did you interview before COVID and then you got hired during COVID? So it was one of those like weird transitions?
Exactly. It was like around Christmas time.
Oh, my God.
And then it was like right after Christmas. And then, of course, there was a little bit of delays. They were interviewing other folks, the whole
Sure.
9 yards. And then, it was, I'll never forget, it was March 2020, right?
Yeah, that's
March
what. Yeah.
2020. And then from that point forward, woo.
That had to also
Crazy time.
have been weird for you as a new hire in April of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You probably didn't meet 3/4 of your coworkers until like a year and a half later.
Yeah, the first time I met like Amy Lang, for example, it was over Zoom, right? But it wasn't until like 4 or 5 months later. And do you remember, there were certain news anchors, Sherry Margolis.
Yeah.
I just never met. Like, I met her over Zoom 1,000 times. We worked together 1,001 times, but I never actually met her in person. And you have to remember, I was born and raised in Detroit. I grew up here. Sherry Margolis was like my idol. And having the opportunity to meet her would have been incredible in person. So if Sherry listens to this,
We're gonna have to set that up.
I'm telling you, it's on me. Whatever it's coffee, dinner, lunch.
Michael will fly you out to New York.
What if we kayak to Canada? Maybe we could do that.
Listen.
In an inflatable kayak. That could possibly be the case.
Alan and I did that. If you missed that a couple years ago, we actually did that. We kayaked in inflatable kayaks from Detroit, basically to, was it
Peshiel.
Oh yeah, Peshiel.
Peach Island. Call it what you want. Yeah.
That was, in my mind, really the start of Weatherboys.
That was the original Weather Boy situation.
That kicked off when you two did it. You guys did it together. It was the start of it.
You know what? That is kind of right. Let me tell you, I'm obsessed with Weatherboys. And I don't know who does your animations, by the way. Incredible work. It is incredible.
That's me and Derek.
Yeah, we learned how to do it.
We learned how to do it.
We learned how to log on to a website and how to send money to someone else to do it. That's what we learned how to do.
Yeah. Can we, where do we go here? I have so many things I want to say. Can we keep talking, though, about the inflatable kayak real quick?
Please.
And can we just talk about how much, actually, we're all kind of similar in this way, but I've known Michael since we went to school together.
CMU.
And CMU, yeah, Central, and we are the same. And yeah, Derek falls into this too in terms of cheapness. We you're the reason I bought the inflatable kayak was because Michael's like, dude, guess what I bought? And I'm like, shut up, you can get a kayak for like $89. So we tried it out, and that's not the only thing that Michael has purchased.
This is going to get embarrassing.
It is going to get embarrassing. Hey, you had a chance to tell us what not to ask, and you did not say this. When you're right out of school in this line of work, you don't make a lot of money. First job, you make nothing,
Zero.
and so you're trying to furnish a home with things, and some people get like secondhand furniture items, and I've done that before, and so I'll still do it now. There's nothing wrong with that. And then other people will get inflatable furniture and they'll put sheets over it, so that like he had a full living room, a couch, a love seat or recliner.
It was, and listen, and I dressed it up. It was inflatable furniture. I paid no more than $150 for all 3 pieces. And if you go to Gardner White, for example, you could drop hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I didn't have that type of money when I first got out of college, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different stories. I'll leave you with this one.
Please do.
Is I had company over at one point,
yes.
and I did not tell them that it was inflatable furniture.
Please don't sit on that one. Please.
Do you have keys in your pocket? Take them out, please. Take them out. Take the keys out.
Exactly. And I just remember one of my friends sat down on the couch, and it was a little further removed from the wall than I thought, and he bashed his head because it rolled. It rolled. Yeah, and he fell on the floor. I thought he had a concussion. I was terrified, Derek. I was
started seizing up.
Yeah. He slammed his head so hard. I mean, it literally busted a hole in my wall.
No,
You had a drywall?
It was drywall.
I hope you build him. I hope you build him. Fix that now, sir.
Yeah, you got that right. I felt terrible about it. That was kind of my sign that maybe the inflatable furniture was a bit too much.
No, I think it was perfect. And I kid because I'm you. I once had a couch where I lost one of the couch cushions. I don't know how, and I kept that couch for another 6 months. That's when I worked here at this station. So I am right there with you, buddy.
I could totally see him falling over and you being like, "Are you okay?" And then him being like, "Was that inflatable
What just
furniture?"
happened?
And that's what it was. He was so confused. He was
Oh, sure.
What just happened? What just happened? What's happening with your furniture? It was wild. It was wild. Now that I think about it, Alan, this year, 2025, I think this marks 20 years that I've known you.
That's
Because 2024, 2025 is when we started at Central Michigan University. And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's weird. That time's a weird
What
time.
was Alan like in college?
Actually, this would be interesting. Go ahead.
Well, you asked me what I can't share. Is there anything that I shouldn't share?
No, I'm an open book. I'm an open book.
Let me tell you
I
something.
might
love this
disagree
so
but
much.
The Alan that you see right now is basically the Alan that you would have saw at CMU, but only with about 3 times the energy. I mean,
Oh, the energy was even higher then?
Oh, are you kidding me?
I don't remember.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
He's more
is good.
subdued now?
This is good.
Alan, high octane energy.
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time. I'm there with it all the time.
Ready, raring an A student. This is easy. Great. Tell us more.
Do you know about the story about when they just buried their friend's car in the snow?
Yeah. Those are my drinking buddies. Michael was my study buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that lit. Yeah.
I think I heard that because that was out at the apartment complex.
That was right on Lansing. It was right at the house. Right. It was like a walk to school. It's close.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I don't know. We were dumb. We were bored.
I mean, that's hard. I mean, I'd be harmless enough, but yeah, it's fun. It's a funny story. You should tell the story.
Yeah. No. Okay. So the guys would, first of all, they would put furniture on the roof, right? Some guys bond, and then you put furniture on the roof.
Yeah, inflatable's easier to do that with.
Yeah, right. This is why. And then you finally, but of course the escalation goes and someone eventually gets mad and then you start picking on someone and say, okay, this went a little too far. And then then I think it escalated to the burying of the car in the snow, which again is fine because you have 6 guys doing it. And then you have one person who has to undo it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the part that's tricky. But yeah, so we buried his car and it was delightful. But look, we had the windows rolled up when we did it.
You guys are college kids. That's fine. I see
it was
nothing wrong with
fantastic.
You can get away with a lot of things in college, especially when you say, that was my college year.
Of course. Of course.
All is forgiven.
Yes.
We get it.
Dude, I remember that house we lived in. I was living in a closet. That thing was, it was a walk-in closet, essentially.
Sounds like where I live now.
Actually, tell us about that. So, Michael, you were here at Fox 2 Detroit for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 and some change.
Yeah, so a little bit longer. And then you made the big jump to New York. Fox Weather came a-calling. They said, that guy's got some talent, and we want him on our team. Tell us how that all played out, and what's it like living in New York?
Let me just say this. Fox Weather, if you haven't seen it yet, it's actually on the digital sub-channel. With Fox 2, so I think it's 2.6.
I think
2.6.
Yeah.
So if you have check it out. They are absolutely awesome. And what I love about working at Fox Weather is the fact that it's a national platform. And I'm a big weather geek. And so it's just been so wonderful to be able to like go around the country, learn about all the little facets of weather and all the little, what I consider to be little microclimates around the country. But to your point though, Derek, how I got there, yeah, I mean, basically it was, I got the phone call and they were like, would you like to work in New York on a national platform, as a meteorologist? And when New York comes calling, the only answer is absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? And I actually never thought I was going to leave Detroit once I got here because this is home.
Sure.
This is home. Alan was here. It was one of the first people that I knew here. I have known Alan at that point. It was like 15, almost 20 years. And yeah, I just never thought I was going to leave. I think it was the best move for me to make at that time in my career-wise. But I do find myself kind of like this weekend coming back to Michigan all the time. Like any opportunity I have. I was actually here, believe it or not, 2 weeks ago on the west side of the state in South Haven.
Oh, yeah.
Family rented a beach house, the whole 9 yards. West Michigan beaches. I mean, it's I hate to say this, it's nicer than Florida.
Yeah.
I think like Florida beaches
For sure.
You're not dealing with the salt. You're not worried about sharks.
Ain't no sharks out there.
Jellyfish,
No.
stingrays.
Just hypothermia, but that's okay.
It's almost one of those things where, as a Michigander, you don't want to talk about it too much because it's such a well-kept secret.
Hidden gem.
Where Michigan beaches, that western side of the state, even up north, man, it is, in my opinion, there's no better place when in the summer than either going out west or going up north.
Well, even Lake Michigan, that's all. And Lake Michigan, it's best the Michigan side of it because we have the better beaches than Wisconsin. Because Illinois, Chicago has Lake Michigan too, and it's nice there. But the beaches are better here. And I love some of the lakes that we have around here in Southeast Michigan. They're nice. They really are. Lake St. Clair, I mean, it's beautiful, right? The Detroit River is fantastic, but you don't have sunset.
No.
You don't have sunset over the water. And sunset over the water is marvelous. Sunset over the water is heaven. That is what heaven is. It is, oh my gosh, it is fantastic.
And Alan, do the folks know? Because you're from, is it
Coopersville, yes.
right?
St. Joe's.
That's in
It's
West.
mostly St. Joe's. It's St. Joe's.
Yeah, no, St. Joe's beautiful too. Yeah, I'm from Coopersville. We had Grand Haven 20 minutes away. I love it here. But the one thing that here doesn't have is that beautiful lake.
Oh, yeah.
And it's tough.
No, I totally understand. Although I will say one thing that I miss so much about Southeast Lower Michigan are our metro parks. Central Park is great and I love it. There's so much to do, see, smell, the whole 9 yards. But the metro parks that we have here in Southeast Michigan, I think about like Kensington.
Yep.
I mean, all of them are so beautiful in their own ways. I miss that a lot, and that's one thing that I'm hoping to do this weekend too. Is just take the bike out, go for a nice ride. You know what I mean? Oh, the wind in my hair. Oh,
it's no question that there's a lot of great history in New York, but there's a lot of great history here. And when you were here, you did like a lot of different stories about these little hidden treasures and the history of this and history of that. Is there anything that you think about from your time here that you did?
I mean, other than the kayaking with Alan, that was wild.
Which, by the way, can you describe that further for those who haven't seen it? Like, what we actually did?
I mean, we inflated kayaks, and you have to remember that the Detroit River is one of the main channels where you have huge barges, right? Enormous barges. We filled one of those things up. We tossed it in the water, and we had a boat that was following us. It was like a charter boat that was following us just to make sure that we were being safe.
We didn't die? Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure we didn't fall in and die of hypothermia.
Right.
And then we very literally kayaked across the Detroit River. There were points, Alan, where I was in fear of my life.
Oh, 100%. No, 100%.
These waves
the inflatable kayak, it sits on the water. Like if you're in a real kayak, it sits in the water, which makes it easier to. This was really, really hard. That wind, we thought it felt like the wind was just going to tip us over because like raft off a few years ago, you get those big old rafts. Like the wind will just flip you over, and it was very close, but we didn't. We made it.
Hallelujah.
If I remember correctly, you interviewed an expert at the very beginning of that story who said this is a bad idea. Don't do this.
Yeah.
What was her name? Was it
Missy? Missy. Yeah,
because I think you said, do you have any advice? And she said, don't do this.
Yeah, she was so fantastic.
Yeah, she was.
Well, you made it. And how did you get across international waters? Because that feels illegal.
Well, yeah, I think only if you set foot.
Correct.
I
That was
believe.
it. Yeah.
So we kayaked up there. So technically, maybe we didn't go to Canada because we didn't set foot. Wink, wink, wink. Because we wouldn't have done that.
Right. Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
So
Law,
Yeah.
international law, of course.
we wouldn't.
Right.
No, we would not violate international law.
But I would say that was probably one of the biggest highlights that I had was with Alan doing that. Derek, I feel like we might need to do like another one.
Let's do it again.
But with Derek this time.
Yeah,
We'll get Matt.
Yeah.
We'll the four of us will go out there. We'll kayak.
No,
just for fun.
2 summers ago, we seriously discussed trying to come see you in New York to do a Weatherboys road trip to come find you. We talked about like doing ballet or something. We had a lot of ideas.
Yeah, did we tell? We must have told
I
Michael.
don't know if we looped you in on this or not. Did we not? Because you look very
don't-
confused right now.
I don't think so, but I would have been 1,000% down for the coast.
We
Sign
assumed
me
as
up.
much.
We were going to like road trip to New York.
Yeah.
And then we were going to come see you. And then we were going to go do the New York Company Ballet or what was it called?
We thought about trying to get dancing weatherman Nick Koser too,
do
because
that
he works
with
with
us.
you. But we wanted to do. Yeah, we had all sorts of ideas
And
that
I
flamed
think,
out.
I think we
this
were,
happen?
we were going to go. You know what I think it was going to be? What's that thing called in New York where it's called like New York Henge?
Oh, yeah, Manhattan Henge.
Manhattan Henge.
Yeah.
I think we were going to try to time it there and we were going to have you like take us there and show us all about it.
Yes.
We could still do that.
Yeah,
You could absolutely still do that. What do you guys do next weekend?
yeah.
That's
I'm
what I
free.
wanna know.
Great.
That's a non-kid weekend for you?
That's a non-kid weekend for me, so I'm good.
Okay.
Listen.
I'll ask Stephanie if she can watch my kids. So she's doing it
She's
right
good.
now.
Yeah.
So she's while she's in
I
the
would
weather.
love
office.
for you guys to come to New York. Yeah, that would be incredible.
Okay, we got to make it happen.
I mean, please.
Tell us
please.
what it's like living in New York, because Michiganders, like we have our own Michigan way of life. We're drive everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything's 20 minutes away. You
Yeah.
get in your car, you drive there. Do you even have a car in New York?
I had to get rid of it. I got rid of my car within the first 6 months of being there. You know why? Because my battery died twice. Because
you weren't using it.
I wasn't using the car. So yeah, and I am so married to a vehicle, right? It gives you that sense of independence, that sense of freedom. That's what I loved about, driving around in Michigan. All the windows down, you got the stereo blaring, the whole 9 yards. You don't necessarily get that in New York when you don't have a vehicle, obviously. But I'll say I average 20,000 steps every single day.
You're gonna
in
live forever,
NYC.
man. You're good.
20,000
Why, it looks so
steps.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
20,000 steps.
No, well, I came here, and you know what? The first thing I had when I got to Detroit, I flew in. The flight was super late, but I was able to still get my hands on a Little Caesars pizza. I don't know what it is, but Little Caesars pizza is
yeah.
for me with the crazy bread.
Oh yeah. Now, are you ranching this, or are you just straight up pizza?
Oh, no, I mean, it was pizza, but no, I definitely had like the marinara sauce.
Marinara,
Oh,
okay.
you dip the crust in the marinara. You dip the.
I love Little Caesars. I feel like Little Caesars is honestly better the next day though.
Yeah.
I'm put it in the air fryer and heat that. I mean, I'll eat it
I'll
day
eat it
of
cold.
for sure.
I mean, you can eat it cold.
I
and it's still
think,
good
yeah,
for good.
I think next
Derek,
time.
yes,
I
no?
think we know how to get Michael here. We just bribe him with Little Caesars. We're like,
Yeah.
hey, I got an extra $8. I can get Michael some Little Caesars, some crazy bread. He'll come visit.
Well, and then if you have any like Saunders hot fudge, say no more. Say no
Oh, yeah,
more.
for sure.
Literally
about-
Where do you
salivating
stand
right
on
now.
bumpy cake?
That's what I was just gonna
Oh,
say.
you want to say it at the same time? One, two, three. Where do you stand on bumpy cake? Oh my gosh, Jinx. Derek.
Come on. I mean, you guys know this. I love me some good old bumpy cake. We had that every single year between like the ages of like 1 and like 19. Bumpy cake was a part of every single birthday.
Okay. Are you still, speaking of desserts, are you still baking? Because you were like, you
yeah.
were quite the chef in
Yeah,
the
you
kitchen when it
were.
comes to desserts.
Oh man,
My
yeah,
kids know you as, was it fudge or brownies? I don't know which one you made.
Maybe
but they-
both?
Yeah.
It was fudge.
both. Yeah, but I definitely loved peanut butter fudge. Yeah, peanut butter fudge. Now, here's the thing. My apartment in New York City is 300 square feet in total.
You have no room for an oven. No
Well,
oven.
I have an oven, but the oven is like it's so tiny that I can't actually like put one of those big giant baking pans in
You
there.
mean like a normal baking pan? To be clear, that's what you're describing right now.
Okay, actually, that's right.
Wait a second. What? Wait. So how big is it? Like, here's a normal computer screen. Is it the width of that or less?
I mean,
It's less.
it-
What
it's-
can you put in there? An arm?
It is wild. Even my dishwasher. I didn't know that these even existed. They have dishwasher drawers. So it's the
Oh, I
size
love
of a
drawers.
drawer.
Nice, yeah.
And even like your refrigerators, everything is so much smaller than we have here in Michigan.
Sure.
And it makes sense. I think it has a population of like 8.5 million folks.
Yeah.
And the prices, the rent out there is outrageous. And it's always funny when I talk to like friends
yeah.
and family, but what I pay for a 300 square foot apartment in New York here in Michigan, here in Southeast Michigan, I mean, you could have a beautiful home.
Oh, I love the compare the mortgage to the rent game. We play that every time we talk. And I'm like, sorry, man, it makes me so giddy.
Yeah,
This room alone, this podcast room is probably 200 square feet.
I'm not even kidding. It really is. Yeah, I mean, my place might be just a hair larger, but in Manhattan, this is considered a normal. I mean, this is a larger workspace in a room for sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so the making fun of it is fun, and I love that. But let's shift to the positive, because there's a reason all the people go there.
New York is so cool.
How much time you saving on cleaning? And that's a serious question, right? I mean, that's way easier to keep that place tidy, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, it takes me 20 minutes to clean up the whole place, front to back, top to bottom.
So it gives you all the time to walk everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's great.
But when you're in New York, you're not in your home that much. You're out. Like, you're in the city. You're doing all the city stuff.
That is exactly it. Where I feel like if you are living in New York or you have friends or family out that way, unless you're making like $10 million a year or something crazy, like you probably
Are
have
you not? No, I'm just kidding. Let's get really into this here.
Yeah, come on.
Show me your contract.
Yeah, my goodness. So I feel like, you go to New York not necessarily for the quality of life, because obviously, 300 square feet can be difficult
Totally.
to maneuver in, but it is what is outside. You step out the front door of, FNC, the Fox News Channel, the building that we're in, and you have restaurants just from every single culture. I love Middle Eastern food, absolutely love Middle Eastern food, and I get that from, my roots here in Dearborn, Michigan, and it is comparable, maybe not as good,
sure,
but comparable to what I can find here in Detroit, and I think we have the best.
And this has to be the best, right?
Yeah, the best here. But let me tell you, it's a quick runner-up in NYC.
Well, and the benefit to New York is you can get it at any time of the day, and everything's always open. It's the city that never sleeps. You want it at 2:00 in the morning? Go get it.
You know what? Funny enough, I almost feel like 2:00 in the morning in places like Times Square, because our studios are just around the corner, can sometimes be busier at 2 a.m. than it is at 2 p.m. So it is, when you say the city that never sleeps, you are going all the time. And I think that's why it's really important that you find your little places of refuge, your, kind of to compare Michigan, like you find your metro parks, if you will.
And that's what you're really good at that when you were here, like at going out to finding unique places anywhere. And that's New York. I mean, here you probably could never run out, but you're not running out in New York City. Like,
no.
You could do that for the rest of your life.
Do you know that they have, so there was a stat that I was reading that in New York, you could go to one different non-chain restaurant once a day, and you could do that for 30 years and never go to the same restaurant twice.
Never have any money left in your bank account.
That part too.
Right. But you're going to walk it all off, though. So you're still looking svelte.
Very, very true. Yeah, I would say, like, if you guys have an opportunity to come to NYC, or if you've never been to New York City, I do think it's a place you just need to experience it. And especially if you're, especially you guys, I want you to stop off at Fox Weather. They have just, the best meteorologists from across the country that they have there. And to get, like, the insight from those meteorologists, I think of like Craig Herrera, for example, West Coast. I'm not a West Coast guy. Like, I've never worked on the West Coast, but to just sit, by his side and just absorb all of the information and just his knowledge, for example, of the West Coast has been phenomenal.
And he was killer during the wildfires. He knew everything.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. And so I say that to say, like, in New York, it might not be about the quality of life, because, it'll be a little iffy at times, but it's just the quantity of what you can gather from the people around you, how much you can learn. I mean, I've literally had a chance to interact with astronauts. Did I tell about that story?
I don't know. No, please do.
This is going to be
now you must.
Yeah, this is going to be for another time. But I actually went on a date with an astronaut. It was. I was shocked.
That's fantastic.
That might have to be. Yeah, I'll tell you about that at some other point. But
is the wedding coming? Is this possible?
I know,
or
this is so true.
All right.
But like the people that you meet are just so interesting, and you can learn so much from the folks that you meet there. And that, I think, is one of the hidden gems about NYC.
Well, how many meteorologists are at Fox Weather?
Yeah, so I mean we have a ton. They're like just
50?
Yeah, because we
More?
have folks in front of the camera, and we have a number of meteorologists behind the camera too.
Yeah, we have 4 here, and we have Derek, and it gets really it gets lonely sometimes because I oftentimes do the. Thank you, very much. Thank you. I was holding that. So I do the early, and we're 1 meteorologist per shift usually.
Yeah,
and so especially during snow, I always feel bad for Derek because I'm always texting him hey man, it's nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of when you're creating a forecast, and I love it when you get in, we can talk about it. And
let's be honest, with weather forecasting, it is a bit of science and a bit of art at the same time. And
no one's ever perfect.
There are multiple days where Alan has been working. I come in, I look at the model data, I go, dude, do you think it's going to rain on Saturday? Because I don't know, I'm having a hard time. And he's like, I kept it dry. GFS was going wet, but Euro was trending dry. I'm leaning more towards Euro. And it's nice to have that person to talk to.
Absolutely. And that was one thing I loved about working here. Because let's be honest, Alan and you, Derek, too, we would geek out, especially when it came to snow. Snow in Metro Detroit is a huge deal, or God forbid, ice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Always a huge deal, right? And so it's nice to have you guys here to have bounced ideas off of that. And then at Fox Weather in New York, you have 50 other people that you can bounce your ideas off of. And sometimes when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, you can really get a lot of different ideas.
How can you come to a consensus? Yeah, right.
Exactly. And that's happened a couple of times, but.
Who's the one at the top who can pound the gavel and say this is it?
Yes, yeah. There's one individual that is our he oversees kind of all of the graphics and a lot of the information. And he's the
tiebreaker.
Correct. He's the tiebreaker, but he's also the word stops with him.
Sure.
And
can we say who he is, or is this an off?
I think so. His name's Greg.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg. And a wonderful experience too. His resume. Oh my gosh. You talk about, years and years and decades of experience. That is what he's bringing to Fox Weather and to the viewers. It is. I was so excited when I met him because I knew him before and I've heard of him before I got there. So to get there and be like, oh my gosh, is this the Greg?
Yeah.
He doesn't know this, but when I met him, my heart was racing. Because I was like,
can I have your autograph, please?
That's because there's people in our community that are just known for being, they set the standard of excellence, right? And he's one of those folks that we were able to get at Fox Weather.
Yeah,
and
that's why they've never reached out to Alan because of that.
They're like, wait, this isn't Greg? And they had the phone.
God. I'm going to drag both of you guys into Fox Weather with me. That would be that would be so perfect. Oh my gosh.
Do you ever, because I know this is me projecting, but when you're in a room with that many talented meteorologists at all times, if you're like, I think it's going to rain, and somebody's like, no, it's not, you're like, okay,
for sure. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Did I say I was gonna? I meant next week.
Spoke. Sorry.
Right.
You go.
Yeah. Right. You know what? So, and this is what I was talking about before with having people that are really good at their region. If it comes to Midwest snow, I feel that's where I can kind of stand and say, hey, listen, I worked in Cleveland, worked in Detroit. And if we're going with lake effect snow, let's talk. But if it's again, for the example, on the West Coast, we know who we're going with or who we will absorb that information, really, allow them to share their microclimate experience in that market that they worked in. We have folks that have literally worked from Oklahoma. So when it comes to EF3, EF4, EF5 tornadoes, we have people that have literally had experiences with EF5 tornadoes that are working at Fox Weather. And so those are the people, when it's a big severe weather day, their regional expertise is what stands out and what we really gravitate towards. So, I soak it all in like a big old sponge in a sink.
On-air presentation, there are very few that can be on the Michael Estime level. Your fashion choices through all of your career, Michael, you've always dressed really, really well.
Despite the inflatable furniture, you somehow found a way to make frugal fashion look good.
This is true.
Well done.
Yeah, listen, those ties and pocket squares, I have a rule. I will not spend, and by the way, they do come with cufflinks. It's ties, pocket squares, cufflinks. For the set, I will not pay over $10
For all three of those.
For all three.
And you wow.
will not pay over $10 for that.
You always look so good though all the time.
Yeah.
Has fashion been like just does it come naturally to you? Or
Absolutely not. Okay. Yeah, absolutely not. No, so that in New York they actually have a wonderful wardrobe team and like a hair and makeup team, the whole 9 yards. And so they I literally do not know what I'm doing. When I walk into a store, sometimes I'm just like, that looks good on the mannequin.
Sure.
Can you just like kind of get me something that's very similar, but if there's discounts and coupons with it,
That's what I want. I want that one.
Yeah, that's the one I want. But yeah, our fashion team, they looked at like my wardrobe choices in Detroit. We made improvements, and then and so I think that they've done a fantastic job.
I remember I don't know if you remember this. This was years ago. Yeah. I don't know how many stops ago. I was at one of your first stations. You told me that one of the news directors there, like, sat you down and said, "You cannot wear yellow anymore. You can't wear bright colors because it made you look too youthful. Because you do look. This is now as you get to be our age, this is a compliment, right?
Correct.
You can look this. You're going to look like you look now for the next 40 years. But at that time when we were, I don't know, mid-20s, maybe 30, you do want to look a little more distinguished.
Exactly.
Are you allowed to wear yellow these days, Michael?
You know what? Yeah, yum yellow, absolutely.
There you go. There you are. Back in the wardrobe.
Yes,
Okay.
we got that back in there, and you're right, because I think there's two aspects of it. Like, you have to remember too that yes, the information that we're providing is so relevant to people's days, right? But also, you're also being viewed, right? And so I think that you want to be appeasing. So I figure sometimes,
Sure.
it's also a visual medium. You want to look good. You want to dress to impress. They always say that you want to dress to impress and dress for the job. I guess that my mom always said, dress for the job that you want.
Sure.
But I mean, I've always wanted to be a meteorologist, and
Yeah.
believe it or not, Rich Luderman was the first meteorologist that I ever job shadowed.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Now we go back 20 years. This was probably 30 years ago.
How many times did he swear? 0? Was it 0?
He's gonna get mad about
What?
that.
Was it 0?
He
What, the
always
answer,
tells
wait, what do you mean? The
Derek-
answer is 0.
Yeah.
I think the answer is 0.
I would agree. I completely
That's what, take from that question
agree.
what you want.
Michael, you rank up there in my personal list of talent, meteorologist, forecasting ability, on-air presentation. But the one thing that I will say that you are the absolute best at of anybody I've ever met in my entire life, and I've never told you this, you network better than anybody I've ever met. You are always keeping in touch with people. You cannot go to a city, a conference, anywhere without knowing 80% of the people there. How do you do it? How do you because networking is important for your career, but it's also just you're a nice guy and you're just friends with everybody. How do you manage to stay in touch with all these people?
Derek, I really appreciate that. I think it's just that when you're a people person, and you have to remember that like the meteorology community is so small, and also like if you're a meteorologist and you're a big weather geek, then we all share something in common.
Aren't many of us. Yeah, right.
not
Who
many
want to
of us.
talk about that.
Yeah. So like when we have let's talk about the weather conversation. And you're in a group of hundreds of meteorologists at a conference, we will go all in on that topic of weather. You know what I mean? And I think that makes it so much easier to connect with folks, and you always have something to connect with them too, which of course is the weather.
Got some. I'm gonna transition this.
Yeah. Well, the inspiration for your weather. I remember when we went to school in our class. I think there were like I was doing transition. I think there were like I think like half of the people were inspired to be meteorologists by Twister. Do you remember that
the movie?
Like Megan, like half of the was that a part of your story?
You know what? No.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Not really. You know what it was is, and this is how you know if you're a parent that you have a future meteorologist in the making. Is I would lay on the grass. My brothers were playing basketball, football, baseball, doing their thing, and then mom would look out the window. Where's Michael at? Right? I'd be laying on the grass, looking at the clouds. The different shapes, looking like bunnies, and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And then when there was a thunderstorm, instead of like running to the basement, the whole 9 yards, I would run outside. I wanted to see the clouds. I wanted to, and this might sound weird, but I love.
Now.
Yeah. Well, among you guys, it's not gonna sound weird. I love the smell of rain.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the deep growls of thunder, you see the flashes of lightning like at night. I would literally get adrenaline rushes when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old because of like weather moving into Metro Detroit. In Metro Detroit, sometimes you get those big line of storms that scream across the state from west to east. And, you know, it's like a countdown until it gets here. Sirens going off. I mean, it was, you know,
it's poetic. Like listening to you talk about it, it's like poetry. Like you can tell you do love that stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And, you know, I will say, I don't see that as much in New York City, interestingly enough. We don't really get like that type of weather like we get here in Metro Detroit.
Sure, yeah. What are your hazards? Like flash flooding? I mean, you get maybe a hurricane?
Yeah, I mean, I think most recent would probably be, we had, and this was wild, we had wildfires in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Was that last year? No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And never in my life did I ever think I was going to see wildfire smoke completely shroud New York City.
It looked like Armageddon.
It was terrifying. Yeah, that was so interesting. But in terms of storms, the buildings are so large that it's hard to actually, like, as a meteorologist, kind of appreciate from a distance the shape of those thunderstorms. But here in Metro Detroit, you know, you're in Ann Arbor, Washington County. You went to U of M. You're standing out, at Mary Markley Hall, and you're seeing those thunderstorms rolling in. That happened to be once. My brother was there, and I was outside just staring. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible to see.
I don't even remember the building names at Central. And you just name dropped a building
that
Ann Arbor that Derek went to. That's impressive.
Wait, were you in Mary Markley?
Freshman year,
Did you stay in Mary Markley?
Yes, I lived in Mary Markley.
Second floor?
Fifth floor.
Wait, were you the guy I punched in the face? I thought I recognized you.
Fifth floor, Mary Markley, and then I did South Quad second year, and then junior and senior year we rented a house by the big house.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. It was my brother. I think he was on the second floor of Mary Markley.
Yeah. Mary Markley, there's a lot of stuff. Mary Markley was the freshman dorm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was, I remember being like, where should I live? And somebody I knew that went there the year before was like, go to Mary Markley. That's where all the parties are at. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that would have been fun though. It
was a good time.
Yeah.
One of your passions, and I love this about you, and I connect with you this because my wife is the same way, is you love to travel.
Yeah.
Have you been able to do any fun trips lately?
You know what? Absolutely. Yes. You know what it is? It's one of those things, I realized life is so short and precious, right? You get a finite amount of time. We don't get any do-overs. So my thing is I do it now. Like if there's an opportunity to travel, go for it. And, whatever your passion is, like do it now while you're, young, although I just turned 40, so I am. But anyways, but like if I get an opportunity to travel, yes. And I most recently, earlier this year, went to Africa. And Africa.
Okay.
Like South Africa, flew into Cape Town. We went up to Zimbabwe, Zambia, Namibia, and we did safaris. And I think I may have shared with you. And tell me, let me know.
No, I don't remember this one.
Did I not tell you about the shark cage incident and all that?
No, you didn't tell me about the shark cage incident.
We
talked for an hour yesterday, and that didn't come up.
Oh man. We don't have enough time in the podcast to go into it, but unless we do.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You can't say shark cage incident and not tell us.
I see no wounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, Derek's injury.
Shark cage.
Table saw, right?
I was going to say
so I'm telling people now.
Tell them that happened in shark cage.
Yeah, just off the coast of Zambia. Is that on the coast? I don't know.
Yeah, but so I had a chance to travel there, and it was just incredible. I'll tell you the story in a second, but traveling to me is such a great disconnect, and it's a great way to learn about culture, food, customs. I love to remove myself completely from everything that I'm used to. I thrive in, I don't want to say in an uncomfortable environment, but an unfamiliar environment where I have to explore. I love exploring. Even Metro Detroit, loved exploring. And so that I think is what, to me, travel is all about. All right, shark cage story, long story short, they threw me into a cage, okay? And
now you went
sounds like a terrible vacation, but
you know what?
You had a
choice? And did you need help?
Yeah.
And what was the ransom amount? What are we talking here?
Should we talk to the embassy? The consulate?
He's fine now, so I guess all's well that ends well, right?
Yeah. So I planned this trip 6 months ahead of time, and so I was thinking to myself, wow, 6 months beforehand, I was there was an excursion that I could sign up for, which was a shark, like an encounter with sharks. And I was like, man, this sounds so awesome. When else in my life will I ever be able to do that? So in the moment, 6 months before, I was like doing it, signed up for it, the whole 9 yards. Sorry.
That's okay. No, that's good. Dramatic.
Yeah. And then, so signed up for it the day of. I remember I was like, what am I doing with my life? Am I really going to just jump into a shark cage where they're what's called chumming the water with fish that like
Guts, blood and guts.
Yeah, that's exactly
right?
it. Yeah. Blood and guts of these fish. And then to attract sharks, to bring them up to the cage. And we don't know the size of these sharks. And
It's a big ocean, Michael.
it's a big ocean, and we had huge sharks come up to the cage. Okay, they were called copper sharks. Came up to the cage, enormous, and they were like, really, they were large. They were, I thought, moderately aggressive because they were like banging their heads into the cage, and then,
Moderately, okay.
Okay, this is going to get a little graphic. All right, just a little graphic. So if you're squeamish, just keep this in mind. The guy that was standing next to me, we were in a group. There were 7 of us in this cage, and the water's bobbing up and down the whole 9 yards. He got seasick in the water.
Oh,
Okay, he's standing next to me. I am a germaphobe, as you guys know. So I didn't,
Wait, but you guys are underwater, so you've got.
well, we were half submerged. We actually had snorkels on.
Okay.
So the snorkel was above the water, face is below the water. He unfortunately got seasick. But here's the kicker: is that actually attracted smaller sharks. Basically the baby copper sharks, which small copper
Please
sharks.
tell me fit through the bars.
And they had a window, a quote window. I thought when I read that this thing has a viewing window, I was thinking, oh, okay, like there's plexiglass, the whole 9 yards. No plexiglass. It was a 12-inch window, and these little baby sharks were actually able to get their heads into the cage. Yes, being stopped by their dorsal fin. It came with, and these cages weren't that. I thought it was going to be a big, large cage that you saw like on Jaws.
A baby shark is still a shark, right?
Correct.
I mean, that would okay.
The teeth are still sharp.
Yeah.
The teeth, yeah. And so this thing got into our cage up to its dorsal fin.
Guy's puking.
The guy next to us, is up chucking in the water, attracting these sharks, plural, sharks. I have never been so scared in my life because I was afraid that I was going to get bit by a shark because these things had really sharp teeth. And Derek, I kid you not, like I saw my life flash before my eyes. These things were chomping at the bit.
Did they pull you up?
They did not. No. So we were underwater, but one of the guys actually pushed the shark, like the face of the shark, out of the cage.
You can do that.
You're not supposed to, and he learned because unfortunately his hand slipped. He actually cut the inside of his hand on one of the teeth.
Oh, jeez.
There was blood in the water.
Expecting more sharks.
You vomit, human blood, fish guts.
That was the
great. Let's go.
first and last time. It's kind of like skydiving. There was one point in my life when I was in my younger years, in my yesteryears, I thought that'd be a really good idea.
Hey, that's been on the Weather Boys radar for a while.
Yeah, that's
so
the
when
problem.
you come back, Michael.
Maybe be glad that you're not here locally because Alan, whatever your fear is, he's going to say, we're doing that. I signed us up. And you have to do it because Weather Boys don't back down, so you have to.
I mean, that was kind of like kayaking across the Detroit River. Like I was thinking that we'd go on like the Rouge River, something that's a little bit more calm and peaceful. Maybe one of the Lake Orion or something, Cass Lake. No, we went on the Detroit River. Oh my goodness. It was something. Can I just stop and just say, I love and miss you guys so much.
Dude, we miss you.
We miss you, man.
I mean, with all due respect to Fox Weather, when are you coming back?
Yeah, come back. We got some ropes. We're gonna just tie you up and keep you in the weather office.
Yeah, that's great.
There you go.
That's fantastic.
Or maybe when you guys come to New York, you're not leaving Fox Weather.
There you go.
All right.
And that could happen too.
Great.
We'll see. I was going to say.
Maybe between the three of us, we could afford like a 600 square foot apartment.
Hey,
that'd be fantastic. Our kid, plenty of room for our kids.
There you go.
Sweet.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So
Any last questions? We got to let them go.
No, we're good. We're good.
All right. Michael Estime, Detroit's own beloved Fox 2 meteorologist, now Fox Weather Meteorologist. Thank you for coming in. You're only in town for like 24 hours, and he gave us one full hour of those 24. That's awesome.
Like
sweet man.
Anytime. It's one of those things. Coming home to me means seeing the friends, seeing the family, but it also means coming to visit you guys at Fox 2 because I think I was sharing this with you, Alan, when I was on the phone with you. That Fox 2, you have to realize for viewers and listeners that the dynamic that they have here is so unique, unlike any other station in the country that I've ever visited or that I've ever worked at. When I say it's a family, I mean, I know your kid. Before we came in here, I was like, hold on, Derek, I got to say hey to your kids.
Yeah.
Alan, same sort of story. And it's like that, not just with the meteorologist, but with the anchors. Having dinner at Dina's house.
Sure.
We've done that before. Roop Raj, and just being able to kick back with Roop and just hanging with him, and Amy Lang, literally just on our days off, we all hang out together, and that dynamic is so unique, and I think that it comes across on air.
We golfed together with our dads.
Yes.
We went with our dads and played 9 holes. It was so much fun.
We did do that.
That was
That's right.
great.
That's right. So again, it is something so unique to Fox 2 that you don't see. And I noticed that actually with some of the Fox affiliates, that there's just a connection that we have that is, it's an unbreakable bond, if you will. And so it's why I know that you guys are going to be my buddies, my weather buddies, and friends for a lifetime.
Hashtag Weather Bros for life, man.
Weather Bros for life.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, thank you. And thank you to everybody who's listening. And if you're listening for the first time, thank you. But know that you can catch all of our content on YouTube. Smash and subscribe.
Smash and subscribe.
Our YouTube. We're on Spotify. And, of course, we're on the Fox Local app as well. The entire library of Weather Boys content there as well. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time.